Yeah.
Okay.
W-E-I, same as W-A-Y in pronunciation.
Okay, awesome.
Go ahead,
I wanted to be sure. All right. Welcome back, or welcome to UNG PSSA. We meet here weekly on Wednesdays to discuss a new political topic. This week we have a guest speaker, Dr. Laurel Wei from the Political Science Department here at UNG, and she is going to tell us, I believe, about a little comparison between a presidential impeachment in North Korea versus the United States. So we're very excited to have her, and I'll let Cavalli tell us a bit about the attendance, and then I'll let you take the floor.
Okay, for anybody who is new here, and just a reminder for everybody, we will be passing around an attendance sheet in a few minutes. So that we can verify your attendance. There's a spot for faculty member name next to your name. If you put a faculty member down next to your name, we will contact that faculty member to verify your attendance. Can't guarantee that they'll do anything about it, but we will let them know in case you want to bug them for extra credit or something related to that. And again, we'll pass that around in a few minutes. Okay, Dr. Wei, it's all yours.
Okay, hi, good afternoon everyone. Welcome to today's talk. Some of you have taken my classes before, so I teach East Asian politics. That's my regional expertise. So this semester I teach Korea in the world system. So the topic I'm going to discuss today is part of the class. So basically, the specific topic is the presidential impeachment procedure, and we are going to do a comparative analysis between the South Korean system and the American system. So first, I'm going to go over some of the generals about the presidential impeachment procedures. Feel free to interact with any questions or comments. And then we will talk about specific cases. We will play with some hypotheticals if we have time. Like what might happen if an American president is put under the South Korean system? Will he become impeached? Will he be removed from office? Okay, so any questions, comments, thoughts before we begin? Anybody has been to South Korea? No, nobody. Okay, so just a real quick introduction of the South Korea, also called Republic of Korea, ROK, R-O-K. So ROK political system, they have a presidential system. It's similar to the American system, but with some major differences. South Korea is a unitary state, whereas the USA is a federal state. Being a unitary state means they have a strong central government, and the local regions, the provinces, rely more on the central government for budget, and the central government carries out policies the local governments must follow. So there is less autonomy and independence at the subnational level, at the local levels. Yes, so that's unitary state. So South Korea has a presidential system, which means similar to the American system. They have 3 branches of the government. So the capital city is Seoul. So executive branch. So they have a president. The president is popularly elected. So elected by popular vote. There is no electoral college. So it's just a one-step popular vote, and the winner is declared as the president, as the next president. What's different from the American system is they have a person called prime minister. So the prime minister is different from the prime minister in Japan or United Kingdom. The prime minister is more of a head of the cabinet, and he is usually seen as the number 2 person in the administration. So his job is to assist the president. So this is like, even though the position is called prime minister, he doesn't have like independent powers. He must be subordinate to the president, so he must assist the president. So that's why South Korea is called a presidential system rather than a semi-presidential system like France. Any questions here? Question? Yes.
the prime minister, is he pretty much always going to be? Well, let me start out this way. Are there political party systems kind of like there are in the U.S. and South Korea?
Yes.
So is the prime minister and the president usually going to be in the same party?
Yes.
Or can you have instances where they're of the opposite party? Or is it going to be like president, vice president, where they're always pretty much aligned?
So in the French system, you can have these two positions occupied by people from different parties. But in South Korea, yes, typically the president and the prime minister come from the same political party. So the prime minister tends to agree with the president rather than challenge him. And also, like the prime minister helps, like the top assistant. Also, he's the head of the cabinet. You want to pick up your pen? Yeah, go ahead. So the president has a wide range of powers. The prime minister is not popularly elected. He is usually appointed by the president, but the nomination must go through the legislature. So if the legislature approves the nomination, then okay, you become the next prime minister. Yes. So that's the executive. And then South Korea has a unicameral National Assembly, just one house, with around 300 members. So they don't have a House and Senate. That's a bicameral legislature. It's different from the American system. So unicameral, one house National Assembly. And all the members are popularly elected. Yes. Then you have the judiciary. So South Korea has a different judicial system than the American system. In the US, we have the Supreme Court, right? The Supreme Court makes decisions on constitutionality, right? Whether a piece of legislation, a regulation is constitutional or not. So in South Korea, there is this what we call a constitutional court system. So it's basically you have a Supreme Court. The court is the court of highest appeal, accepts cases and makes rulings, but doesn't decide on constitutionality matters. Make sense? And then South Korea has an independent constitutional court. That court exclusively makes rulings on matters of constitutionality, including the impeachment of the president. Yes. So who makes the ultimate decision regarding the impeachment case? It's the South Korean Constitutional Court. Yes. So, yes, go ahead.
Are these judges on the Constitutional Court like elected to the court or appointed by someone? How do they get their positions?
That's a good question. So there are 9 justices in the Constitutional Court. Yes. So these are elected. Basically, they are elected. Yes. So I need to double check, but if I'm not mistaken, they are elected. And judicial independence is like they treat this very seriously. Like the Constitutional Court must be remain non-partisan and independent all the time. Yes.
Do they serve like long terms? Like here, I believe it's lifetime for the Supreme Court, but for
not lifetime.
okay.
Yeah. So they do have a retirement age. Yeah. Yes. So it's not a lifetime position.
Wouldn't
Yeah.
that be nice?
Okay. Next, I'm gonna talk about South Korea's presidential impeachment procedure. So before I talk about South Korea, are you familiar with the American procedure, like how the president might get impeached? So in the U.S. system, which organization begins from? Where is the beginning? What is the beginning? What marks the beginning of an impeachment case?
It's a vote in the lower house, in the House of Representatives.
Mm-hmm.
And then theoretically, if that passes, it goes on to the Senate.
Mm-hmm.
Means by default majority.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So it has multiple steps, right? It has multiple steps. The very first step is like a formal impeachment inquiry. So a House committee will make a formal impeachment inquiry, and then it requires a floor vote. So when an inquiry is drafted, the committee presents the inquiry to the full House, right? So at this stage, you only have the inquiry, you only have the document. The impeachment case has not been fully established. So what fully establishes the case in the American system is a floor vote. Yes. So yes, basically so the Judiciary Committee investigates, holds hearings, and draft articles of impeachment. And then the committee votes to recommend each article to the full House. And then there is a floor vote. So the representatives vote on whether the impeachment case is established or not. So as some of you have said, like the next step is the case goes to the Senate, right? So the Senate, what do the senators do in an impeachment case? So now we have a formally established impeachment case against the president. Then what happens next?
I want to say there's like some sort of questioning carried out. I don't know whether that's a committee or a whole Senate thing. But
I know, but I'm not telling.
I imagine it's not in like the super public eye though.
So before the case goes to the Senate, the full House votes on each article, right? A simple majority is good enough to pass each article. So if the House committee includes like a list of 5 articles, 5 items for impeachment, then the full floor vote may or may not approve all the 5 items of impeachment. So there might be like a 3, might be 2, might be 0. Yes. If it's 0, then the case is gone. Simple majority. Simple majority. And at this time, the case is established. Is the president removed from power?
Under the House bill.
Right. So the president still has full range of presidential powers, right? The president still carries out his powers. And then the case goes to the Senate for a trial. And then here you have 2/3. You have a supermajority of senators. 2/3 votes are required for conviction and removal. Does the Supreme Court participate in the impeachment procedure in the American system?
Oh,
How?
the Supreme Court?
Yes.
Honestly, I'm not sure.
So the Supreme Court, anyone else? The Supreme Court, does the Supreme Court participate? This can be tricky.
Technically, yes, but really, no.
Don't they make the rules on what you can and can't remove someone for?
The Chief Justice presides over the Senate trial, but the Chief Justice has very limited discretion in conducting the trial.
So
it's really a ceremonial.
Yes, ceremonial.
Ministerial kind of thing.
Yes. So he basically shows up.
Yeah.
Shows up as the head of the Supreme Court, and who makes the decisions? It's the Senate, right? It's the senators who make the decisions to convict the president, and if the president is convicted, then he's removed from office. Yeah. So that's the American procedure. Next, I'm gonna talk about the South Korean procedure.
For
Yes.
reference, I think I might have to understand the American process. How far did Trump's articles of impeachment go in his, I believe it was his first term?
Sorry, let me
I want to
turn.
say, I don't know,
around.
does anyone?
Could you please repeat your
No,
question?
you're
Sorry.
Does how far did Trump's articles of impeachment get in the process of the American?
Didn't it get into the Senate and then it got a simple majority, but it didn't get close to a supermajority? I think it was missing like 10 or 15 votes to actually get to an actual supermajority.
According
I
to-
think only like 2 Republicans voted for Trump's impeachment. I know one of them was Mitt Romney. I don't remember what the other one was.
Yeah.
According to AI, yeah.
There were 50. In the second impeachment, there were 55
55. Okay,
who
so-
supported. The first impeachment, I'm not sure, there might have been 50. The second impeachment was the first majority since Andrew Johnson.
Yeah.
But again, it requires, as you mentioned, 2/3, 67, and it wasn't anywhere near that, mainly because of almost unified Republican opposition to conviction.
Yes, so in the American system, presidential impeachment is a highly political issue and a highly partisan issue. So senators, you require supermajority, right? But it's partisan politics, so it's uncommon that a senator would vote against the president of their own political party. So it's partisan politics with increased polarization. It's more and more difficult to like reach across the aisles, and then like you reach bipartisan consensus. Yes.
It's kind of political suicide for a lot of the Republican senators
Yes.
because they first thought they knew a lot of it wasn't probably going to get passed, so a lot of them who may have been wanting to do it didn't do it, and the ones that did vote for it, like Mitt Romney, was ran out of politics. He had to retire, and I forget who the other major senator that voted to impeach Trump, because she also got ran out as well, and she. Think so, something like that.
No, she was in the House.
No, then who? There was another senator or something like that that they got primaried out or forced to resign or something like that. But again, it was a mess. If you voted for that, it's pretty much like putting a target on your back, being like, yeah, you're gonna get primaried out the next election.
They care about their political career, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you should always be loyal to your own party. Yes. So partisan politics. Now let's look at South Korea. So in South Korea, the presidential impeachment is essentially a legal issue. The Constitutional Court makes the final decision. So it's now the National Assembly. So the first step is the proposal. The impeachment bill must be proposed by 1/3 of National Assembly for ordinary officials. So 1/3 for ordinary officials, but for the president, it must be proposed by a majority of National Assembly members. Remember, it's one house, right? So at this point, you must have some sort of cross-party consensus, like some multi-party consensus built in order to have this majority, yes, to reach the proposal. Go
Was
ahead.
that simple majority or like a 2/3 majority?
Simple majority, yes.
Okay.
So at least the 151 out of 300 National Assembly members.
So just to clarify, a simple majority in Korea would require bipartisan or multi-partisan cooperation, because there are more than, I don't know the politics there. There are more than just two major.
There are multiple parties, but under a presidential system, and their electoral system is mostly first past the post.
Usually
So
neither
you have
neither major party or none of the major parties has a clear majority, is that?
So
is it usually coalition or?
it's what is emerging is you do have like two biggest parties. One is conservative leaning and the other is liberal leaning. So you do have these two largest political parties on each side, and then you have a number of smaller parties.
Are they usually large enough to get that majority without the help of other parties?
Simple majority, yes, it's possible.
Okay.
Yes, but the ROC party system is more fragmented. So the smaller parties, they come and go, and they don't last long. Yeah. Like the People Power Party, which is a conservative party, it's relatively new, and it's yes. But before that, there was another conservative party. So they do this reshuffling of different political parties. They change their names. They do the rebranding all the time. Go ahead.
And could you remind me? The simple majority is to actually get the impeachment attempt approved, or it's to actually move it up to the next level?
So it's basically to establish the case.
Okay, so
Yes.
it's just to
To
get it.
propose, yes, to establish the case.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's the first. That's the first step. So they have one house, unicameral, so it doesn't go to the Senate Next step is the floor vote. So to go to the constitutional court. Does that make sense? If it's passed, then the president is immediately removed from their duties as the president. So if this case is formally established and 2/3 National Assembly lawmakers have voted yes, then you can stay on your position as the South Korean president. And there will be an acting president. He or she is usually an independent, so like a non-partisan independent member. Yes. So in South Korea, there are multiple presidential impeachment cases, and when this happens, the president is immediately removed from power, so you have multiple acting presidents. Yeah. So they act as a temporary presidents. Okay, so. And then the president is formally impeached when the supermajority vote passes, and then the president's power, the presidential powers were suspended. So then then the case go to the court. So the court makes the final decision. So there are 9 justices in the South Korean Constitutional Court. At least you must have at least 6 out of 9 justices to uphold the impeachment. And if the court rules that the president is impeached, convicted, then the president is removed. Okay, so and then the court evaluates based on legal standard. So like, for example, the president has abused his powers. The president has corruption issues. The president has undermined the constitution. So you have the legal basis. So the court evaluates whether the president commits a grave, quote-unquote, grave violation of constitution or law in the course of official duties. That's a legal question. Go ahead.
So how much time usually is there between that second to last step and the last step that has to do with the court? So for example, if there's a 2/3 majority and they're like unicameral system, and an interim president gets put in and the sitting president is taken out, how long will it take for there to then be a vote inside of the court?
It depends. Yeah, it depends. The court usually it's done as soon as possible. Yes, and if the president is removed, like the previous South Korean president Yoon Suk-yeol, he was removed about a year ago for abuses of power, for the curfews he announced, which were unconstitutional. So he was removed, and then within 60 days, there, if I remember correctly, 60 days, there must be a presidential election. So during that period of time, you have a vacuum, right? So you can have 1 or more acting presidents. Yes.
And like, how much power and authority do the interim presidents have? Like, can an interim president come in and just completely restructure?
The same as the president. Yeah.
Okay.
So the same as the
Same
president.
amount of authority?
Same authority
Okay.
as stipulated by law, constitution. Yes.
You mentioned that interim president is independent. I'm just curious if sometimes people like dig up maybe that interim president isn't as independent as they might claim to be, and like what's the reaction to that typically?
So they might get another person to fill that
Just
position.
like never mind, next. Okay.
Yeah. So interim presidents are like temporary, and
Has that happened to any extent? Have there been multiple interim presidents at any time?
South Korea, yes. So like in the last year's impeachment case, there were 2 or 3 interim acting presidents. Yeah.
And there's no clear line of succession. These people are just, do they come from the legislature or?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's
Or the
like the
cabinet,
cabinet.
or-
Yes,
oh,
the
okay.
cabinet. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
But there's
So
no clear line of succession for filling that position. It's just whoever
usually
they decide to choose.
the prime minister can step up. Yeah.
Okay.
And if the prime minister is unwilling or incapable, then they will choose somebody else from the cabinet. Yeah, and it can be a lawmaker as well.
Okay, but it's not strict, excuse me, strict like in the United States, where you go to the vice president and then the, who is the Speaker of the House, and then the President pro tempore of the Senate, and then the various cabinet officers in a particular order, Secretary of State, Secretary of Treasury, etc.
It's in their constitution. As far as I remember, they can be more flexible.
Okay.
Yeah, but I could be wrong. Yeah. So South Korea has had 3 cases, impeachment cases, and guess how many presidents were removed? 3 cases, 3 presidents. How many of them were
Well, we know at least one. You already gave that away.
at least one.
I would say 3.
3?
I don't know, but
Yeah, I guess one.
Guys, make a guess.
I'll go with 3, sure.
3? All 3 removed? 1?
That's fine.
2? Yes, 2 is the correct answer.
okay.
So the first president, that's after South Korean democratization. It's a relatively young democracy. So they held their first democratic election like in the late 1980s. Yeah, so they are fairly a young democracy. Yeah. Okay, so No Moo-hyun, he was a ROC president from 2003 to 2008. So he was impeached for election law violation. Like, okay, so he expressed public support for a political party, specific political party at a press conference, and so he was accused of violating the constitutional principle of presidential political neutrality. So you can express your support, openly express your support for a political party, you have to stay neutral. And then illegal campaign funding. His aides received illegal campaign contributions during his 2002 presidential election. Yes, go ahead.
I had a question about the president following that, the female president from like, I think it's like 2013 to like 2017. I forgot her name, but was she?
Park Geun-hye?
Yeah, was she impeached? Because
Yes, she was impeached. So I'll talk about her. Now. Okay, so the first case, and then No Moo-hyun, he was impeached for economic mismanagement. So he, okay, by the way, he's one of the progressive presidents in South Korea. Okay, so he was the first impeachment case. The court decided that it's a technical violation, but the court ruled that it was not serious enough to warrant removal. So he was reinstated as the South Korean president. So that's
define. What was it? Economic mismanagement.
so
That
he
feels
was
very broad.
he was accused of incompetence in handling the economy. Yeah. Like your economic management, you didn't bring about economic growth as you promised. Something like that. Yeah.
Well, so, I mean, it's a bit like the Constitution of the United States defines impeachment as high crimes and misdemeanors, which is.
Yeah, that's also
I mean,
very.
Yeah.
I mean, what we used to say after Watergate was high crimes and misdemeanors means whatever Congress wants it to mean.
So the first case not removed. The president was reinstated. Park Geun-hye, she's the first female president of South Korea. She was the ROC president from 2013 to 2017, and she was a conservative president. So what happened was basically she had this close friend, and this close friend was her name Choi Sung-sil. You don't have to remember her name. So this close friend held no public position, but she had considerable influence over the president, and then so the president basically was under her control, like physically, mentally, and spiritually, and then there were allegations about the cult association. So this best friend was a daughter of a cult leader. And then so she was kind of a cult leader. She had some spiritual beliefs, and then this president of South Korea was her closest friend. So they kind of yes. So the president basically followed her guidance most of the time. It's more yes. So this friend, very mysterious friend, and so this is already kind of unclear. And she made other mistakes.
She is the female president.
Coerced donation. So this best friend also helped Park Geun-hye solicit donations from different businesses. So it's about extorted 69 million from major conglomerates, Samsung, Hyundai. So yes, so about 69 million donations, if this number is correct. Okay, so it's coerced donations. They basically with the friend acting as an intermediary, the friend arranged coerced donations from those businesses to the president. Yes.
Did the outrage from I know that there was during her presidency she was asleep or something and doing her hair during the murder or the death of all the school kids. Was that the outrage from that? Was that what caused
that's the last straw? Yeah. Okay. So that's the last straw. So what happened? There was a Seoul ferry boat accident. Hundreds of high school students got drowned. So this was a tragic event. And then at that time, the president of South Korea was not reachable, couldn't be contacted. Nobody knew where she was, so she was beyond reach. So there's that. And then when she did show up, she was busy cleaning up, making up excuses, explaining what happened, and then trying to make herself clean, I'm innocent, trying to fix her own reputation rather than express condolences and sympathy toward the victims' families. So this was seen as a really bad thing. You are the president and you are supposed to respond immediately, and yet you were late. And not only were you late, but you also were you had all the excuses and you lacked a proper expression to the victim's family. Yes. So there's something like that. So her approval ratings dropped to single digit.
So that kind of brings up a separate question. So since there's the president, but also the prime minister, is it where the prime minister is sort of head of government or head of state and the president is the other? Or is it kind of the president is both the head of state and the head of government? So they have the ceremonial things and also they're very much head of government.
The president is both the head of state and head of government, just like the American system. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so leaking state secrets. So you have this closest friend and she doesn't have positions officially, and then she can control you from behind. So what happens is President Park obviously discussed a lot of state secrets with his close friend. Yeah, seeking consultation. And then there was the obstruction to justice, refused to cooperate with prosecutors, and also denied the best friend's role. No, nothing happened. Basically, she's innocent. She's just my friend. And then blocked search of the presidential compound. Okay, so she was impeached, and the court ruled unanimously 8-0. So she was removed from office. Initially, she was sentenced to 24 years in prison, and later she was the sentence increased by 1 year, so 25 years. And her successor, Moon Jae-in, who was a liberal president, he pardoned Park Geun-hye on compassionate grounds. She's old, she's not in a good health condition, she has health issues. So yes, so she was pardoned in late 2021. Yeah. Questions?
It makes me think of
Mm-hmm.
like it makes sense that they, you know, to have a president that everybody's super mad at, like that leads to polarization. So it kind of seems like, was it Johnson's, or I forget whose justification for pardoning Nixon? It was like, well,
Ford.
yeah,
It was
Ford.
Ford.
It was like, well, you know, we wouldn't want everybody to be mad at him, and we're like, is that the best reason to go through with this?
Yes.
For the subject of the president having a friend who wasn't elected but had too much authority over her, how do they investigate that? Like, how did that come into the public light? Was it uncovered in an investigation, or was it just people happened to find out through like a coincidence and then it became a big thing? Is it the kind of thing where like most of the presidents probably have somebody like that, or was this a very well, obviously it's unusual a little bit because the person was crazy, but is there usually somebody behind the scenes who does that, and it's just that this one happened to get caught?
So you have a network, clandestine network, and somebody was not happy, and then so it eventually got discovered. Yeah, one chain of the network kind of became vulnerable, and then information leaked. So people kind of got the information. At first it was kind of bribery, and then eventually they digged deeper. So
it was like a whole network, and this was just the one person that got caught.
it's a network. Yes,
Okay.
it's a network with multiple associates, with lots of like privileged people. Yes.
Was the close friend receiving government funds for any of this, or was it just purely a friendship where there was no exchange of money?
Just a private citizen. Yes,
Okay.
I would say. Yeah. So I think the last straw is basically she failed to respond properly to the tragic event. Yes. So she was removed, and then the most recent case, Yoon Suk-yeol, he was ROC president from 2022 to 2025, People Power Party conservative president. Okay, so he was impeached because last year, and he was removed from office like April 2025. So what he did was, mainly illegal declaration of martial law. So he basically said, okay, there are pro-North Korean elements. They are trying to sabotage us. So we need to impose a curfew. Yes. So he. In the legal procedure, in a regular procedure, you as a president, you need to get the consent from the National Assembly, but he didn't. He unilaterally declared the curfew. Yes, and then he mobilized police, and then there were confrontations because lawmakers tried to enter the National Assembly building to vote. And then there were like armed police officers there, and then there were confrontations between the legislators and the lawmakers. So the lawmakers finally broke into the building, and they held a session at night. So they didn't sleep. At first, so the People Power Party blocked the impeachment. And then because there's no you don't have the required majority, and then the second time the impeachment case was established. Yes. So anyway, the president tried to block the lawmakers from entering into the building and held a meeting. Yeah. Go ahead. And then.
Was that based on assumption or suspicion that North Korea was trying to enter, or was he like Was that based on suspicion or assumption?
So there have been tensions going on between North Korea and South Korea. North Korea has nuclear weapons and poses an imminent and serious threat to South Korea. But this is not like North Korea is going to attack South Korea immediately. Yes. So it's all of a sudden, like the public were shocked.
So it was
Like-
random.
Like how can you suddenly declare a curfew based on national emergency? But North Korea isn't obviously attacking South Korea right now. So Yes, and he did this without the proper legal procedure. Yeah, without consulting the National Assembly. Go ahead.
I remember when it happened, going online on Twitter and seeing videos of what was going on. And I remember that the opposition leader, I think he was on TikTok live streaming, and he hopped a fence and stormed into the building, and you could see the comments just going insane, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, this guy's crazy! Like this guy's gonna win a re-election easily, like that." Like all of it. And I remember also someone also just joking around too, saying like, "How can you stage a coup with no support?" It's just like one of the first steps of staging a coup is that you gotta have some sort of support. He just did it. He just winged it, and then it immediately failed. And then he also apologize. He was like, "Oh yeah, guys, I'm sorry. I didn't mean this for to happen." And everyone thought, like, "Yeah, no, that's like, you think that's gonna be enough for you trying to overthrow the country, and you're think that's just like a little simple apology is gonna be enough for you to skirt on by?" I just remember how funny it was watching it because it was over and done within a few hours. It was really weird to see.
Yoon Suk-yeol, the president, did say like, "I didn't mean to sabotage democracy. I didn't mean to violate the constitution." And then he declared that the building was cleared. But anyway, he had a twisted government. So People Power Party didn't have the majority in the National Assembly. It was a Democratic Party of South Korea. So the Democratic Party led by Lee Jae-min, who is the current South Korean president. So he's a very passionate leader. Yeah, he went on hunger strikes. Yeah, he was once sent to the hospital. Yeah, he was like protesting and stuff. So yes, so his party, the Democratic Party, held the majority in the National Assembly. Yes. So they tried initially to establish the case of impeachment, and then the president's party obstructed. So the first attempt failed, and then the second attempt they managed to get like over 200 votes. So yes, there was a case, and then the case was sent to the court. Go ahead.
Has there been any sort of like punishment that's followed up as impeachment? Like I know with the last lady, she was originally sentenced to prison for 24 years. Is there any sort of sentence for him?
So he was arrested, tried for insurrection, and he was sentenced to life imprisonment.
Wow. And
in February 2026.
Is that still upheld or is it pardoned? Or?
So currently he's in prison. Yeah, he's like life imprisonment. Hopefully the current president or the next president might reduce his sentence or even pardon him. Yeah, it depends. It depends on the successor's mercy. Yeah.
So you're trying something, the apology didn't work. So like that breaks my heart.
So what he did was mainly the surprise martial law declaration. Yeah.
It's crazy.
And also he ordered the arrest of politicians, judges, and Supreme Court justices under martial law authority.
How can you do that and then still just say like, yeah, it's my fault? Like it's like I didn't mean for all this to happen. Like how can you immediately just turn around and be like, guys, it was just a prank. It was.
Harry snuck in my house last night and got on my computer and sent out orders.
Yeah, like I'm just saying, like how can he do all this? Order the arresting of multiple politicians and judges, and then just come back a few hours later, like, yeah, maybe I didn't mean to do that. I don't get how he get like that reasoning happened. I don't get it.
Your Honor,
he
I
was
plead
hungry.
Daisy.
Yeah, maybe his excuse was, well, I declared the national emergency, so I had the power as the South Korean president to do that. Yeah.
It's just so interesting. It really is.
So he was removed, and then an election was held. So there's the current Lee Jae-min. He became the current South Korean president. Yeah, he's a liberal president.
Sorry, how long are the terms for presidency?
That's a good question. Single 5-year term, non-renewable.
Non-renewable.
Non-renewable, 5-year
So
term.
that first one, she almost made it to the end before she got impeached then. Okay.
But her approval ratings dropped all the time to single digits, 7%, something like that. Yeah. And then there were candlelight protests. So people basically went to the streets and they were all saying she's not our president. She's so corrupt. She needs to be gone. Yes.
I know that, again, like you said, Korea is a relatively new democracy. It's only been around since you said like the late 80s. So there isn't much of a sample size for this, but how often do, again, you said the president cannot run for re-election. How often does that same political party win re-election and then have a new president, but like underneath the same political party? Or does it flip-flop a lot, like between liberal and conservatives? Also, I remember you said too that like, the political parties don't last that long. They're constantly reshuffling and they're forming new parties. But was there any time in recent history where the same political party won re-election and continue rule?
So yeah, that's a good question. So initially there was a decade of progressivism. So decade of liberal presidents, 2 liberal presidents, and they were both human rights advocates. So it was from like 1998 all the way to 2008. So this decade of liberalism, and then it's followed by a decade of conservatism. Lee Myung-bak and Park Geun-hye. So they both have a decade of conservatism, and then you have Moon Jae-in. He ended peacefully. He ended his terms peacefully. So 5 years, and then you have Yoon Suk-yeol, conservative president, and currently a liberal president. So it's kind of going back and forth. Yes.
With the, I guess we'll just use the one of the woman who got impeached and the one most recently. Well, I guess with the one most recently, it feels like it would have quite a bit of bipartisan. But whenever this happens, they have to eventually get it to a point of being bipartisan. But is it ever driven by just totally the opposition trying to get out their rival? How did they? Yeah.
So the president's party tends to defend the president, but South Korea has a was traumatized by the memory of military dictatorships. So they are very kind of sensitive to any authoritarian tendencies. So at this point, even the president's party wouldn't be okay with the president's authoritarian approaches. So yes, they are very they actively defend the democracy. Yes, it's a hard-won victory. Yeah, decades of victory. So it's not always the opposition party, but it tends to be the opposition party. Yeah.
Do you think it's fair to say, given how many presidents have been impeached or gone to trial since the country was founded as a democracy, that it's then a relatively unstable democracy?
That's a good question. They are stable. They uphold the structure. So like the constitution and the separation of powers, and they are sensitive when the president acts in an authoritarian way, and they don't like it. South Korea has a very active civil society. So people would go on the streets, they would protest, they would make demonstrations, they make their voice heard. Yeah. So people played a big role in democratization as well as the impeachment of each president. No, the last 2 presidents who were removed.
Okay.
Yes.
Can there be examples where, for example, a president has been fully impeached and he's no longer there, and the new president that's elected is in a different political party than the prime minister? So, like, when a president is impeached, I assume the prime minister stays, right?
Yes.
And so then, can the new president be in a different political party than the prime minister that's there?
It doesn't matter, yes.
Okay.
So they have their own ways of, usually it's an independent, selecting an individual as an acting president. But I think the time limit is 60 days. You must have a popular election. So a president must be popularly elected.
Okay, speaking of time limits, we are just about at the end of ours, so do we have any are there any conclusions or any final words to?
I did have one last question, which is that in these impeachment attempts, how much has there ever been an instance of it going against the majority of the people, of the citizens that is, or is it pretty much always it happens after the citizens decide that they've had enough of the guy?
So in the previous 2 cases where the presidents were removed, the people really made strong voices. Yeah, the people strongly supported the impeachment. And then the first case, basically, no, there wasn't enough public reaction. Yes.
So there's like the public just didn't care, or the opposite direction.
No, they thought it's not significant enough for impeachment. So yes, and also the first president, No Mo-hyun, he was a human rights lawyer before he became the South Korean president. So he was really in touch with people. He came from a humble family background, so he's good at communicating with people. Yeah, so he's kind of popular. Yeah.
And that was the one with the economic mismanagement, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I can see why
Economic
people-
management.
I can see why a lot of people are just like, I don't really care all that much.
Still does the
Yeah.
job fine.
He's a good person. I don't really care all that much. Yeah, no, I understand.
So Donna, why don't you take us out?
All right, thank you guys for coming. We'll be back here with a new topic, same time next week. I hope you have a great rest of your week. If we could give a warm thank you to Dr. Wei for coming in. We appreciate you coming in, and hopefully we'll see you come back in the future.
Which system is better?
Ooh.
Oh. Think about
Ooh.
this.
Well, y'all's is more efficient.
Yeah,
You
like
guys
I
actually
think,
impeach
yeah,
people,
you
so,
guys
like-
actually like do your job.
You guys actually-
so I think South Korea.
Man, you actually guys get stuff done with impeaching presidents. We have not
You
yet
guys
to do
won't
that
love
yet.
it.